Hey, I'm Stephanie Hunt. Welcome to the Cult of Flair, where I chat with creators from all walks of life about the meaning of personal style, fearless individuality, unexpected paths, and insights into finding your flair. Alongside my in-depth interview series, you'll also find snackable short episodes. I do love my snacks. I call these my Flair on the fly. I'll be serving up tips, musings, or insightful nuggets designed to expand your knowledge and to share the flair. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Cult of Flair. This is part of my periodic mini-series of snackable episodes that I like to call the Flair 5 on the fly, which, yes, it could match my attention span because honestly, personally, I have trouble getting through an hour-and-a-half episode of anybody's podcast, no matter how much I might love it. So I just like these as little snacks, something you can listen to easily. It's going to be 5 things. We've recorded some other ones. I'm not sure if you've listened to them, but today we are talking about ways to bring nature indoors, into your room, into your office, something that feels living and organic, even if it's the illusion of it. Hopefully it's not the illusion. Hopefully it's the real thing. It is going to really just help the space. And I know that sounds super vague. I am looking for a better description, but we'll get there. Anyway, 5 of them. It adds a freshness, an organic element. It psychologically helps your space to feel lived in, like an actual home instead of like a model home. And I'm sorry, no disrespect to model home designers out there, but if somebody comes to your house and says, oh my gosh, it's perfect, it's like a model home, to me, that's not a compliment. It means you need to do something to help it feel lived in, welcoming, like real humans occupy these spaces. Natural elements can do this. Also, I want to say some of these or all of these might seem obvious to many, and I never want to act like I'm the big boss of the rules because I personally don't love rules, but these are just suggestions or reminders, little lift things that you can do. Anyone can do this. Number 1 of the 5 ways to bring nature indoors, indoor plants and potted trees. One of my favorite things to do is to shop for interesting vessels and pots wherever I go. So I personally start with the pot before I get excited about the tree. I'm sure other people whose brain work in a more orderly way would do the opposite, but I always fall in love with the vessel first. It can be from big box shopping. It can be online from Amazon or Target. I love to vintage shop. I recently found this beautiful hand-hewn glazed ceramic, perfectly imperfect pot while I was shopping in this little store called Campover in Los Alamos, California. I bring the pots home. I measure them. I then figure out what height or species, varietal, whatever, of trees go in them. So that is what I do. Sometimes look away. Okay, so look away, master gardeners, because I'm sure this could make people shiver. But sometimes, a little secret here, or confession, I don't even remove them from their original containers, their plastic containers, especially if I'm worried about them not living that long, or I'm in a hurry. I'm having a party and I don't have potting soil and gardening gloves and all the things at my disposal. I will just plunk the plastic pot into the beautiful pot and I'll cover the whole thing with peat moss or crushed oyster shells, a beautiful, amazing finish that my friend Carol taught me about a handful of years ago. I also like to use cranberries over the top of the dirt in the holiday season. I'll cover the dirt in the plastic container with all the green pretty moss or peat moss, which is a bit more heathered gray. And then I nest in cranberries, totally surrounding it. And I love it. Or on a bigger tree, you could do this with tiny little crab apples too. It's unexpected. It helps to make your home unique. And I am all about that. Flair equals unique. So it doesn't just look like all your neighbors. Number 2 is to add natural materials like wood in many ways, like a natural wood. I love a lacquered painted wood finish, but I'm talking about a natural wood finish. This can be a wooden coffee table. This can be a framed piece of art, framed photographs. There are so many ways to use natural wood in your home. There's another way to do this by using vintage things and installing it as art. I think I might be getting this wrong, but I do believe there is this old vintage, I think it's called a riddler, where there are holes in a piece of really old crusty wood, and it's to put wine bottles in somewhat in an upside down position. I believe that you're supposed to turn the bottles, but I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is instead of even having wine bottles in them, you hang it as art, and you even can stuff little greenery, peat moss types of things in there. You could even, if you're having a party, you could have like a single bloom, like a rose or a tulip or something else coming out of it. It's interesting. It's art. I wish I could show you a picture right now, but I can't. So work with me here. So, okay, besides indoor planted potted trees and plants, and besides wood, another third way, my 3 of 5, is cut flowers. And yes, they only last for a handful of days. I don't care. I want fresh flowers everywhere. The handful of days that they are alive brings a natural organic element to a room. It's welcoming. You can cut the stems every few days, just a little bit to help them come back to life. I've been told that putting a penny in the water helps to do something to sort of mitigate the bacteria that grows in the water, which is what makes the flowers die. I haven't tried this, so if you guys out there have, I would love to hear whether that actually works. And yeah, it's also, I've noticed that a lot of hotels, I don't really think it costs a lot of money. I'm not talking about this huge, amazing, really super stylized arrangement. I think hotel rooms are starting to put fresh things in them, like a little plant or succulents or a little vase of flowers, I've noticed, because it just helps you feel more like that hotel room is home, even if it's for a night or 3. Number 4 is a water feature. So yes, water features indoors, like a little, what is the word I'm looking for? Waterfall, water features, something is supposed to be zen, feng shui, all the things. Might be the only person out there that the sound of a water feature kind of drives me insane. Okay, so let's say you're like me and you don't like the sound of a water feature, an indoor little wall mount waterfall or something like that. One thing I like that I do consider a water feature is a fishbowl. Don't laugh. I have a betta fish named Aubergine, Licorice, Little Smoky Ashes. Yes, 4 names. I just love that he is it's like a movable art. There's something so calming and soothing about going into the kitchen in the morning, seeing his fishbowl. I swear he flaps his little fins at me. He seems excited to see me. It's a low lift pet, but that's probably another episode for another day. I consider this a water feature. I like to decorate his little bowl in colors that color coordinate with my room. Maybe I am OCD, but it doesn't matter. I'm owning it. He had pink and purple rocks for a while, and then I decided that messed with my design sensibility. So now he has greens and blues and yellows and all the colors that I love the most. It even reminds me of my early days of marriage, where we lived in this little house in Long Beach. We had black and white checkerboard linoleum floors, and I had a betta fish named Elvis. He was royal blue, Eve Klein blue. The whole thing brought me so much joy, and it was a water feature. Okay, that is 4 of 5. My 5th Flair 5 on the fly for how to bring nature indoors is a bowl of fresh vegetables or fruits. I know that sounds maybe a little bit dull. I promise the impact is everything, as long as you keep it single species, single color. So I love a bowl of eggplants. I love a bowl of artichokes. I think the form, the color, everything about it. Green apples, lemons, persimmons in the autumn, pomegranates at Christmas. It's just a way of bringing nature inside. That's it for today. Send me your ideas. I'm sure you have many of them that I haven't even thought of. I always love to hear your thoughts. And thanks again for tuning in. Hey, thanks for listening to today's episode of The Cult of Flair. I'm Stephanie Hunt. If you like what you heard, please share it with a friend. Follow the podcast on whatever platforms you are listening. Follow me on Instagram at the Flairhunter or at the Cult of Flair. And until next time, go find your flair.